check the feed. Check the feed on the channel too.
Alright, Shalom.
Shalom.
Let's see if we get audio. First and foremost, we have to begin by giving all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father's true name, in the name of His only begotten Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and also in the name of His Holy Spirit. That's what we said in the ancient Hebrew tongue. Now we like to give double honors, double to the elders, the apostles of Great Millstone, our teachers that surely do well. Peace, love, salutations to the men, the brethren on the four corners of this world that continues to spread this word, this gospel in all sincerity and in truth. My couple brothers from Great Millstone Trinidad gathered tonight. I'm going to do a quick bit of edification. As you can see the title concerning Daniel, the 7th chapter and the 4th verse. Alright, so we're going to dive right into it.
This is Daniel chapter 7 and verse 4. It says, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it.
Right, and if you're familiar with history, alright, this is the prophet Daniel, alright, going into the visions that he received concerning the beasts, the 4 beasts. Alright, the first one being the lion. Alright, with the lion, take him Jeremiah the 50th chapter and verses 17. Each beast represented a kingdom or empire that ruled. But
Jeremiah chapter 15 verse 17 says, Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away.
right, and Israel, alright, served captivity under these different beasts or these different nations that rule. So the scripture in Jeremiah, the 50th chapter, is going into how Israel being scattered due to the captivities that we were under. The first one being what? The Assyrian captivity in 722 BC, alright, taken by Shalmaneser the 5th, the son of Tiglath-Pileser the 3rd, alright, into Assyria, while bringing heathens into our land. A great transplanting took place. Alright, so it's going to further expound on it in the scripture here. Go ahead.
It says, first the king of Assyria
First the king of Assyria, as I just mentioned. Go ahead.
had devoured him, and last this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had broken his bones.
Had broken his bone. Read from the top again just to get a quick point.
It says, Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away.
Now it says the lions have driven him away, and when it mentioned the lions, it talked about the Assyrian and the Babylonian. So this lion here that Daniel is speaking of in Daniel 7 and verses 4.
I'll read it back for you.
Go ahead.
Daniel 7 and 4 says the first was like a lion. That was the Assyrian empire, as you were saying. It says, and had eagle's wings.
And had eagle's wing. Now this is where the Assyrian empire comes in. Alright, the eagle's wing, because the Assyrian empire, they had their flight. They had their power. They had their dominance before, alright, the Babylonians took over, before Nebuchadnezzar could have sat on the throne as an independent ruler or liberal ruler of the Babylonian empire. Because there's some history to it, whereas the Assyrians, they would have had a suzerain rule. If you're going to look up the word suzerain, somebody can get that Bababusha online. Suzerain, S-U-Z-E-R-A-I-N. Suzerain. The Assyrian empire, the Assyrian rulers, they had a suzerain rule over what we would have known as the Babylonian rulers, beginning with Nabopolassar. But the scripture doesn't highlight Nabopolassar. It more deals with Nebuchadnezzar and why, and Belshazzar. Why? Because it's in the book of Daniel, and these are the kings that was at the time of the prophet Daniel. Alright? Yeah. Well,
suzerain means a sovereign or state having some control over another state that is internally autonomous.
Internally autonomous, and autonomous deals with you being able to govern yourselves. Alright, they give you the privilege to govern yourselves, but remember, you have to pay us tribute. Don't forget, we are ruling over you. So that's why it's listed that what the lion, it represents the Babylonian kingdom mainly, but it had an eagle's wings on it, which is the Assyrians having that suzerain rule over the Babylonian empire, while they having the privilege to carry on an autonomous kingdom.
Like you see today?
That's right.
As President Biden, all of them is puppets, they get our power to set up.
Or like in ancient Rome, which today's empire mirrors ancient Rome. Alright, where they would have vassal states. Vassal states is the states that different places that Rome would have had dominance over, and yet they would have been joined to Rome.
Like territories of Rome.
Territories of Rome, under Rome's control. Alright, and that is how it was with the Assyrian and the Babylonians. Before what? We can continue on.
It says, I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked.
But the wings, they get plucked. And then that's a mystery. Alright, and the brother has it because, as I mentioned, Nabopolassar, when you look up now, somebody could get Nabopolassar as well. You have Nabopolassar? Which one you read? But okay, let's see it.
Nabopolassar, right, in the Bible dictionary, the Strong's Bible, sorry, the Zonabon Compact Bible Dictionary. It says, first ruler of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, 626 to 605 BC. Allied with the Medes.
Allied with the Medes, joined with the Medes. Go ahead.
And the Scythians, he overthrew the Assyrian Empire.
They over what?
He overthrew the Syrian Empire.
So the wings were plucked.
I don't know back at
Go ahead.
in Daniel 7 verse 4, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it.
Yes, stand upon your feet. You know, they became independent, they became liberal, they became strong. Because that's how from growing up. When he's a kid, the whole dream is to get big, to what, be your own man.
Yeah.
You know? So it's saying that they became like a man.
They became like a man, and as a man's heart was given to it.
A man's heart, that is Nebuchadnezzar. Alright, becoming the ruler, the son of Nabopolassar. He took over and he began to rule with dominance, alright, over the rest of nations.
So I have Nebuchadnezzar here.
Beautiful. And then you would read back again that Jeremiah 50.
So, Nebuchadnezzar or Chadnezzar,
which means Nebo has, let me see if I get the exact, right, we have written it down here, to do with the crown, right? Nebuchadnezzar means Nebo, protect the crown. And going back to the different deities that they had back then, Nebo was a pagan god, a Semitic deity of wisdom and agriculture, which that is actually what the Babylonians on the side of Nabopolassar, they were doing when the Assyrians ruled. They were the ones working in agriculture and basically in servant work towards the Assyrians that ruled at that time. Go ahead.
Nebuchadnezzar or Nebuchadnezzar, the fourth dynasty ruler of old Babylonian Empire, 1140 BC. Ruler of Neo-Babylonian Empire, 605 to 562. So when you go back to the dates, right, Nebuchadnezzar, his father, he actually died in 605, right? Because his rulership was 626 to 605. So from 605, Nebuchadnezzar took up the throne or the rulership.
And that is why when you look on the image that we have, that we always emphasize on a great milestone, you would see it starts with the Babylonian Empire at 605. Because this is where they would have become liberal. Prior to that, prior to the head of gold, because the head of gold doesn't represent the Assyrians and the Babylonians. The head of gold strictly represents the Babylonians. Yeah, it strictly represents the Babylonians only.
They were the opulent kingdom with the hanging hanging gardens. They go into, they had the hanging gardens. They had like it was glorious. It was glorious. out of all the kingdoms, it was the most opulent, as they say, right? In terms of pageantry, somewhat. Yeah, you know.
I just want to bring what that precept test down.
Yeah, 2, you know,
Right, that head of
yeah.
Just be able to second.
That is Daniel 2:38.
58. Right there. So read straight to the point.
Straight to the point.
Right. Daniel chapter 2 and 38 says, and wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thy hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold.
Thou art this head of gold, and Daniel was speaking to Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Nebuchadnezzar, some pronounce it, right? The king of Babylon. So the head of gold precisely represents only the king of Babylon, the Babylonian rule when they became liberal. That's why on the image you see it starts from 605, despite Nabopolassar, he would have started at what? 626. Alright, so there's a reason why it's dated that way. We'll read again in Jeremiah 50 and verses 17.
Jeremiah 15 verse 17 says Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions,
2 Kings 25 and start at 1.
the lions have driven him away. First the king of Assyria had devoured him, and last this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had broken his bones.
Stop there. You get 2 Kings 25 now.
Really? Right. 2 Kings 25 and 1, it says, and it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, came, he and all his hosts against Jerusalem, and pitched against it, and they built forts against it round about.
Right, came against it, and we know that no nation or people can come against Jerusalem unless who sanctioned it? The Most High. So we go to Jeremiah, the 27th chapter. Jeremiah chapter 27.
Jeremiah
27. And verses, you can start at verses 4.
Jeremiah 27.
Point is in 6.
Was that?
Well, point is in 6 and 7.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Jeremiah 27 and 4. And command them to say unto their masters, thus saith Yahweh, the power of Israel, thus shall ye say unto your masters, I have made the earth, the man and the beast that are upon the ground by my great power and by my outstretched arm.
Go ahead.
And have given unto whom it seemed meet unto me.
Right, so it seems right unto, as it says in Daniel 4 and 17.
You're right.
You are there right now? Bring it out.
This Daniel chapter 4 and verses 17. It says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers,
The angels, well,
and the demand by the word of the holy ones,
well,
to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set it up over it, the beast, the basis of men.
and that is what happened today. Right now, the basis of men is set up. Alright? And it didn't begin with them being set up. It has some history. It started with the Assyrians, Babylonians, the Medes, the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans. Which the Greeks began the basis of men's rule, where evils were multiplied in the earth. But that triptych just goes to show that whoever is in rule, as it says in Psalm 78 and 5, promotion cometh. 75, 76? 75. Right? You can just get that too as well.
6.
Psalm 75.
Yeah, 75 and
The promotion cometh me. Psalm 75 and 6.
start at 4. Start at 4.
Psalm 75 and 4. It said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and the wicked lift up Lift up not thy horn.
Right, to the wicked, lift not up your horn.
So like the scripture says, the fool said in his heart that there is no power, there is no God. Right, so who is that fool mother? Present day. Right, see, so you know.
That's right, that's right.
Right, so lift not up thy horn, because the Psalms, sorry, Job, I think it's Job 10, say what? The most of the heart, no, Psalms 10, say the most of the heart desire. Like Job, Psalms 10,
Psalms
13.
verse 3. Oh yeah, 3 around here.
Yeah. So the most of the heart's desire, right? And the heart's desire, as we see in most recent times, the World Economic Forum, they boast of what? Trying to eliminate 90% of the world's population, right? And to the 10% that remain to be what the slaves and the for the next word that they use, and then technicians to serve them. So they want to one, push past the bounds of rulership, and two, you know, through the blessing of Isaac, which they understand that they are the Edomites. It's only Jacob understand that they are the Edomites. They are the cursed people of the Bible. And we are Jacob and Negroes, Latinos and Native Americans. Right? Through their blessing, according to prophecy, they're going to seek to slay Jacob. Right? That is what? Genesis 40:29. He say what? On the days of mourning is past, he will slay his brother Jacob. Right? And that's why it's called what Jeremiah 30:7 is what? Time of Jacob's trouble. Because basically it's Jacob we want to eliminate.
That's right.
Because they already, you know, and they already run the experiments and see which nation is going to submit. Moab already submit to extent. Moab already submit. Elam already submit. Right? They really don't want Elamites to rise up. Because the true Elamites, the Persians, would be Iran. Right? That's why they don't want Iran to have missiles, to have nuclear capability. You know, a couple of years back they killed Soleimani. Right? He's one of the generals in charge of them, overseeing them building what missiles. But guess what? The time, according to mentioned the statue of the beast and Nebuchadnezzar's dream goes into the rulership, the Persians' rulership gone. This is the Elamites. So they don't have to worry about the Elamites rising up. What they're fighting against is Jacob rising up. Right? Because what the scripture said, the prophecy said what? Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that coming after.
That's right.
Right?
It said, to the wicked, lift not up your horn on high. Because
there's your power.
The things that was spoken of in the scriptures, as he said concerning Sodom and Gomorrah, he left it as an example for them that should afterward live on God. Look what Esau needs to do. As scripture say, that they were wise, they considered the latter end. Look at what the Most High did to nations in the past that he lifted up. He pulled them down.
So that precept Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 2, right? And I can start at verse 3. Talk no more exceedingly proudly, let not arrogancy come out of their mouth.
And is he speaking proudly?
Simply call them down most proud.
Or talking about having the Most High's people in captivity forever.
Chipping them, chipping them, having them corrects, giving them a badge of servitude. Right? For the Lord's for Yahweh is a power of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. Right? Jumping on to verse 6, it says, Yahweh killeth and maketh alive, he bringeth down to the grave and he bringeth up. Yahweh maketh poor and maketh rich, he bringeth low and he lifteth up. He raised up the poor out of the dust, right? Representing the prophets, the elect, hopefully elect in these last days are going to be raised out of that confusion, right? You can bring it to this present day, be raised out of that confusion, because the philosophies of Babylon is confusion.
That's right.
Man can be a woman can be a man. A child has the ability now to say, well, I feel like I was born a boy in a girl's body, right? And your parents can't tell you anything about that. If you feel that way, the state in Babylon, America, could put it. Yeah, they will pay for the surgery and they will penalize or imprison the parents if they try not to, they try to resist your free rights. Now the things that they, that's a whole other story. It says, he raised up the poor from the dust and he lifted up the beggar from the dunghill. to set them among princes and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. He will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail.
So the ultimately all the agendas that they have set forth is going to fail. Alright, they ain't going to succeed, as the scripture says. He disappoint the device of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform the enterprise. There's many things that men devise in their mind or in their heart, as the scripture would say, but the Lord's counsel that will stand. And what the Lord has destined for the future is for eternal rule of the Israelite nation, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. So we know for a fact that whatever nation it is rises up before them, their time is limited. As it says in Jude 14, alright, the number of his months are with thee. There was appointed their bounds that they cannot pass. So just like the Assyrians were plucked, them wings was plucked, Esau is about to be plucked. Alright, and we're going to go into the word pluck as well, and let's correspond with what the scripture says concerning Esau. But go ahead.
There's the book of Job chapter 21 and verse 27. It says, Behold, I know your thoughts and the devices which you wrongfully imagine against me. For ye say, Where is the house of the prince? And where are the dwelling place of the wicked? Have ye not asked them that go by the way? And do ye not know their tokens? That the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction. They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath.
They will be brought forth to the day of wrath. The Most High said, just like he said concerning Pharaoh, for this very set purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my strength in thee. So the wicked is reserved, like scripture says, he created the wicked for the day of evil. Alright, he set up Esau, he set up the basis of men to show us, the true rulers of the earth. As it says in Psalm the 2nd chapter and the last verse, now be wise, O you kings. And the pathway to wisdom is learning both good and evil. You can never call yourself completely or perfectly wise if you don't know both sides. So the Lord shows us how it is to be under wicked rulers. It says in the prayer of Azariah 1 and verse 9, he gave us over into the hands of our unlawful, most wicked in all the earth. You understand? So we know what wickedness is. We're learning. That's what's happening right now. We're going through the process. Trust the process. You understand? And the Lord is going to ultimately bring us through. As he said, he's going to bring the third part. So it begins with our remnant that the Lord is firstly going to send through. And through these men, alright, is how the rest of the entire nation is going to inherit that which has been predestinated.
He set up the basis on earth, which is who? Esau.
That's right. That's right.
Pushing to Job 30.
He had some more in the months before he had something.
Yeah, we quickly say, this is Romans 9 and 22. But in power, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction.
You see, he endured it because I know when the Heavenly Father ultimately wants the sea going on forever. Alright, what the Lord can scripture says, the Lord has no pleasure in wickedness. So he enduring this, as the scripture says, the hurtful works are now fulfilled. You understand? He will hold his tongue no more.
The
pure eyes?
No, the abomination of the Amorite was not fulfilled.
It was not yet full. You know, so the Most High gives abomination a limit. Alright, I will allow that much. You understand? But righteousness, however, he's going to allow it to be. Yeah, that's it.
I was going to read just to add to
well, go ahead.
There's Wisdom of Solomon chapter 1 and verses 13. It says,
For 15 to 1.
It says, For power made not death, neither had he pleasure in the destruction of the living. For he created all things, that they might have their being, and the generations of the world were healthful, and there is no poison of destruction in them, nor the kingdom of death upon the earth. Because when you read Revelation the 6th chapter, Esau goes back to what that red horse which represents was death. This kingdom is death. It had nothing living in this place.
Read that first part again, because this could confuse a lot how to say it, as the scriptures say, the unlearned. They talk about Apostle Paul's writings. If you're not learned and if you're not stable, you're going to wrest it, you're going to twist it. You understand? It's going to be a struggle for you to understand what it says. So read it again. We're going to shed some light on it.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verses 14. It says, for he created all things. That
verse before that.
Alright, verses 13. It says, for power made not death.
He made not death. You understand? So some a scoffer can take that and say, what are you talking about? Well, the Most High is issue death, and the scripture say he made not death. Yeah, think about it. The Most High, what's going to happen in the end?
Take that scripture so
It's not. The other, that why scripture say the natural man cannot receive the thing they speak is spiritually deserved. Thinking about it spiritually. What is the Most High's ultimate plan? Life.
Right.
That is his plan, life. But to attain to the life that he wants us to attain to it, we have to go through that.
Right.
So the Most High make death to be that which reigns. As it says, oh death, where is thy victory?
Right.
At the end, that was going to be said.
Right.
You understand? There shall be no more death, because the Most High's plan, his whole purpose was to create life.
Right. Yeah. For mental welfare.
That is, and the Israelite men.
The wages of sin is death.
Go ahead.
It says, neither had he pleasure in the destruction of the living.
So that is something that pleases the Most High, to see death going on. He endured it in Romans, he endured it. That is just for time. You understand? Soon we're going to be able to live forever. These words that we're bringing out is strictly pertaining to the Lord's border and his land. Israel.
Yeah, that's right.
Come. When?
It says, for he created all things, that they might have their being. And the generations of the world were healthful, and there is no poison of destruction in them.
And you see, the Most High made the balance you like that he is. He understands that you can't have one thing without the other. That's why if you want life, it ultimately has to have death.
God.
You understand? It has to have it. Well,
That is meat right there.
So, you know, let people enjoy the life. What's that?
God, you must have it. Go ahead.
It says,
And that's why Howard had to go through that process as well. Die, resurrect. Now he's in heaven at the right hand of the Father.
And elect, because he elects, he said, flesh and blood enter not into the kingdom. You have to put off this flesh. You have to put off the mortal and enter into the immortal. Right? As I go through judgment, but every man must appear before the judgment seat. Right? But either die and come again, the dead only have a shy rise first. Right? Or you be transfigured. Taken up. Right?
We should us too as well. Life costs.
Can.
Life is something costly.
Yeah.
You understand? To achieve life, accomplish life, you don't just receive life. So
Yeah.
something had to be given up.
Bring forth. John Baptist said what? Bring forth the fruit. Meet for repentance. Worthy to make that sacrifice. When the Lord said, the Heavenly Father said, precious in his eyes and death of his sins.
That's right.
So these are the men that consider it worthy to fight. Fight for life. You strive for the truth until death.
Not this life.
Yeah. The life, this is not living here. The life, the Bible scripture says we look forward to a new heaven and a new earth. Right? Because this is not living, this is existing, but this is the punishment. This is really punishment. This is punishment. This is what this is. This is punishment. So the elect was sent here on a mission to prophesy the downfall of this place. Prophesy, foretell, forewarn.
Coming up his word.
And coming up his word. We have Harold, Silver, and Galactus. Right? They're coming. These cartoons was based off of Yahushua and the prophets. Right? Now, only, as the scripture reads on school, only till I entered into the sanctuary, I understood there. Right? The Silver was the Harold. John the Baptist was the Herald. The elect are the Herald. And now why the elects are the Herald? The scripture over there say what? The saviors. Also the Lord of the New Testament calls us what? Call the elect joint heirs unto Yahushua. So what Yahushua did, the scripture says the servant are not the servant is not his Lord, his master.
Same suffering that you are sharing should be let go of, should be same thing.
Yeah, Hebrews said Hebrews said that Hebrews said he came in the flesh, right? So he not strange to the sufferings that we're going through. Right, but you know, we kind of excited from the topic.
That's on the field. That's some more precepts on that topic.
As a quick one, 2 7 verse 9 says, if this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if it never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall we receive this inheritance?
See there? You had to go through it. There's the part. The scripture said this is the fight. Some that if I can see in 2nd Ezra, which will cause man to fight upon the earth. You know, it has a certain part that it takes to reach the eternal life, that inheritance.
If I could just add to what you're saying, because ultimately all transitions of the kingdom that happened were played out upon the face of the earth. We were there. And this is the course that it had to take from the top to the end in order for you to enter into this life. Because if these time periods, which you know, to the spirit we went into, wasn't fulfilled, then the kingdom couldn't come. This had to be done. So what we're going through is a must.
And what he even showed us with these other, by putting up these other kingdoms to rule, he showed us how not to rule. Because these kingdoms are, when the Assyrians were plucked, it's not because he just feels to pluck them, it's because things he was doing. He caused them to do certain things. It resulted in their plucking, so we could see it. This is what causes a removal of a kingdom.
Yeah, I want to say one night I heard him say the reason why all these other kingdoms fell is because why? They wasn't keeping the door shut in their commandments.
Like with the man Solomon 6, they didn't judge right.
This is Sirach chapter 10 and verse 7. Pride is hateful before God and man, and by both did one commit iniquity. Verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings in injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Right? They translated from one, so as they were saying, you know, this is why they're not in rulership anymore. Because of these things. They're guilty of these things.
So Esau is well deserving of a plucking. Scripture says that injuries gotten by deceit, that causes a kingdom to be translated. And that's all Esau has been doing. You know, working deceitfully. All the treaties that he made, that he himself broke, all the laws that he and legislation that he passed today, that he in time past broke, and now is holding others guilty for it. You know, that is the devil with the Lord. The Lord has to take him out. We can Proverbs.
Proverbs 14 verse 34, righteousness exalts the nation, but sin is a reproach to any people.
Yeah, righteousness is what keeps a nation up. What did the Most High tell Saul through Samuel? I believe that is 1 Samuel 13:13.
Proverbs 15:22.
1 Samuel 13:13.
While I get it, this is Sirach chapter 10 verse 13. It says, verse 12, for the beginning of pride is when one departed from his maker, from power, and his heart is turned away from his maker. For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that had it shall pour out abomination, and therefore Yahweh brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly. The Lord had cast down the thrones of proud princes and set up the meek in their stead. The Lord had plucked up the roots of proud nations and planted the lowly in their place.
And when that going to happen, the lowly going to be planted in their place. That is what happening. That is getting ready to happen. Right now, it's the soil tilling. You understand? He's getting ready to pull them up and to make the transplant. That would say in Ezekiel 21 and verse 27, he says, you overturn it, until he come.
Tilling. That's the action of tilling. Tilling the soil.
Until he comes, whose right it is.
Okay.
How much have you said? He will overturn
3 times.
So before.
And then we think about when saying something 3 times, like he told Simon, love is on me, he said it 3 times. But I was telling recently, Brother Korah, that 3 represents perfection.
Done.
You understand? So Lord is going to be perfect of his way.
7.
Can.
Perfect.
That's right.
verse 16 again. The Lord overthrew countries of the heathen and destroyed them to the foundations of the earth. He took some away and destroyed them and had made them a memorial to cease from the earth. Right?
Made them memorial to cease.
That is what that's what going on with Esau. But not, the memorial going to be there because Babylon and America are going to be a perpetual desert desolate wasteland. So the memorial is not going to cease because there's going to be a memorial for all the nations that rise up against Yahweh and our Shai.
Ezekiel 21 and 27. Yeah, it says, I will overturn it, and it shall be no more until he come whose right it is, and I will give it him.
Give it him, and that is beginning to Yahweh Shai. That is who's going to get the kingdom to come. It belongs to him.
See who right it is.
Whose right it is. It says in Sirach, the 10th chapter, one you will give it over to one that is profitable. Because Yahweh Shai, as it says in 1 John 2 and 1, Yahweh Shai, the righteous. Alright, the righteous. And that's what the Lord wants to see the world being run in righteousness. As it says in 2 Peter 3, we according to his promise, look for new heavens and new earth wherein dwelleth what? Righteousness. So that is where the Lord comes in. He will not come and rule in that righteous way. As it says in Isaiah 32 and 1, behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule along with him in judgment. That is what the Lord wants to see. To go on forever and ever and ever. That deserves a forever and ever and ever. Them kingdoms that rule in time past, they were just mere examples of what not to do. How not to operate. And the Lord showing basically, I give them a try. You see what they do?
Yeah. Even this thing, no.
It wasn't fit. But when his son return and he takes the throne now, every nation just had to say, yeah, boy, that is our kingdom was around.
The world will come.
Ghana.
A complete, as it says, they're going to have peace.
That's right.
And they're going to run the proper way. And then we'll see.
Even all the nations will not acknowledge, yeah, this is what should have been reading all the time. The scripture says, all the fruit trees go rejoice.
No more fire to come.
Right.
It's in Romans, the creatures,
The earnest
earnest
Expectations, manifestation of the sons.
So, where was you all the time? Why was he running like this?
Hey, come back. I thought you had before now. When you start.
I don't know 75 to finish.
I have 75 minutes. Right? Number 5. Right? Lift up your horn on high, speak not with the stiff neck.
Yes, they don't speak with a stiff neck. The prophets are already telling you, hey, your time up, and you're still saying, nah, you're headstrong with your agenda. You all you need a mind supposed to just come and bow down. You see on every time camp set up, so we just have a group like a large multitude that you might just come in to bow.
Right.
But they so believe in their agenda, they think they have hope still in the kingdom.
Yeah, more pride. That's what they do. They set up space force, weapons, and to fight the Lord. They didn't want to give up the kingdom. They want to fight for it.
More coming by the Holy Land. By who the thing.
Yeah, the Moab and all. Yeah, that's a you the pride of Moab and his lies, but it shall not be so.
Everybody think they're going to rule next. Not so.
In Psalms chapter 14, verse 2, Yahweh looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek power. They are all gone aside, they are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Of all the workers of iniquity, no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread, and call not upon Yahweh. There were they in great fear, for Yahweh is in the generation of the righteous.
See, they eat up his people as they eat bread. Now we know this is metaphoric, right? But actually, the Apostle Tahar today went into a lesson. I think it was entitled the delectable. Somebody can know that word? Or you can see the video, something the delectable Negro, something on that effect. But basically, that article was going into how Esau used to physically eat us. They said some of the captains on the ships that we came across on, when they get hungry, they'll just kill a nigga and cook him.
No, that's where you get picked from. Pick a nigga.
Pick this one.
Let's say we are sheep for this slaughter.
So this devil has to pay for what he has done. They eat up his, read that part again.
It says Psalms 14 and verse 4. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread, and call not upon Yahweh?
Call not upon the Most High. What do they call him? When they say God we trust, who they talking about? Like Satan.
God of this world. God of this world. God of this world.
Psalms, that's an idol. Psalms 10 and 13. Wherefore do the wicked contemn power? He had said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. Alright? And that's the sort of thinking that Shine will require all them acts. Slavery and beyond. But going back even to coming out of the Babylonian captivity, Esau was the one that was saying erase it, which means what? Erase Israel. Erase Israel. You know?
It was like saying Igbo Psalm, is that eat and serve me, you will not forget any other work. Yeah, so, and you say you require what is past. So, but
Even in Obadiah, you know, you say you should have never, you know, touched Jacob's substance. The Lord gonna deal with you for that.
There's Amos chapter 10. Sorry, Amos chapter 1 verse 11. It says, thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. And let's go back to Genesis 27 and 41. Right? In Genesis chapter 27 and verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
That comes with a price, Esau. Slaying your brother. You understand? Just like, and you're supposed to know that. He was king who slew Abel. And when the Most High planned on recompensing him, he said, that's too harsh for me to bear.
You know, he begged the same way as Esau.
You
He
understand?
said, is there but one blessing? Bless one but one blessing.
And they're gonna, and as the Lord expressed in Luke the 16th chapter, they're gonna cry again. Send Lazarus and send a drip of water on my jaw. We man, you see that 1,000 years of dominion
It will be a slow roast. That 1,000 years is going to be a slow roast. So it's not going to slow back a long time. So it's like if they cannot and they like pig, then they cannot rotisserie pig. Literally, Israel going to make a rotisserie pig out of Esau. It's going to be a slow roast. And it's not going to be close. You're not even going to be able to hold my ankles or my heels to beg for mercy. So this is going to see all that from afar off. A great gulf fix. You understand? You have them heathens over here, you're going to have ham over here whipping your ass. You understand? Shitting on you from the chariots. So I can get us real quick. Zechariah. Zechariah chapter 2 verse 8. For thus said the Lord of hosts, after the glory he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. For behold, I will shake my hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants. To their servants. Right? And ye shall know that the Lord of hosts had sent me.
In Psalm 59 and verse 13, it says, consume them in wrath, consume them, that they may not be, and let them know that the power ruleth in Jacob unto the ends of the earth. Selah.
That's right. Consume them. That's just going to come by the nukes. They're going to get burnt. A writer of scripture saying Zechariah is at 14:12, this shall be the plague wherewith he shall fight against all those that fought against Jerusalem. Because out of all the nations, it has not been given in Daniel 9:12. See the thing, if you started going, like the brothers today on the comment board of the Apostle Taha's video, they were going and they were bringing out certain things that were done to us, like especially to Nat Turner. You understand? I started going to and read some about that because
they chop him up and thing. They chop him up.
Yeah, they actually took his skin and made wallets out of it.
Yeah.
Understand? They did something with his with his skin and also extracted certain oils and made creams and all that kind of thing. There was a lot of things they did. As I was going into is a hatred.
Correct. Perpetual is an easy character.
That is hatred.
And even go back to the Genesis, you accept enmity. You understand?
This is Isaiah 23 and I started at 9. Sorry, I started at 8. It says
Esau is like we the Philistines and we had a perpetual war between them going back in history as well. Esau is the same thing.
It says, who had taken this counsel against Tyre, the crowning city, whose merchants are princes, whose traffickers are the honorable of the earth. The Lord of hosts had purposed it to stain the pride of all glory and to bring into contempt all the honorable of the earth.
Daniel 9 and verse 12. David? Go ahead. Oh, you know, yeah?
Yeah.
Daniel 9 and verse 12, it says, and he had confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judge us by bringing upon us a great evil, for under the whole heaven had not been done as had been done upon Jerusalem.
I know anybody still has the 2 Kings 25.
Okay.
Because all these different all these different captivities we were under, like the Babylonian, the Assyrian as well, before the Babylonian, the Medo-Persian, the Grecian, the Roman, they were all after the Egyptian captivity. And it's after the Egyptian captivity, what did he tell us? Deuteronomy 28. At the God of Akbar, in wilderness of Zin, at the feet of Mount Sinai, he told us that he's going to bring us again into captivity by the means of ships. Which precisely speaking about how we came across here on the transatlantic, through the transatlantic slave trade. But there were other curses as well. And these curses began to take effect on us from the Babylonian or the Assyrian Babylonian Empire on down to the last and final one that we're in here today. So that we say confirm his words. When the Lord say cursing you, you're gonna be cursed and it's gonna be dread. Look all them nations we end up serving in our whiff.
This is Lamentation chapter 2 and verse 15. All that passed by clapped their hands at thee, kiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, this is the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee, and they hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we have looked for. We have found, we have seen it. Yahweh had done that which he had devised.
All the other nations swallowed up Israel.
He had fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old. He had thrown down, he had not pitied, and had caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. That's why it just broke down. Right? In the wilderness of Zin. Right? He had set up the horn of thine adversaries. Going back to the same Deuteronomy 28. Right?
First Maccabees 2 and 10.
First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 10. It says, what nation had not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
What nation had not You understand? So the curses had full effect on us. It's as he told us, your enemies will get up above you very high, they will come down very low.
Every nation take part in the fucking long of Israel.
That's right. So now is the time, as the scripture says, the iniquity is accomplished, your warfare is accomplished, the iniquity is pardoned. Now it's time for us to rise out of that. As the scripture says in Psalms 136, He remembered us in our low estate. We the people that the Most High remembers. He's not going to leave us under. Alright? He's going to, as David said it, I know that you wouldn't leave my soul in hell. Neither would you leave thy holy one to see corruption.
And the only one is Jacob.
That's it. First beginning with the Lord. Because that prophecy was precisely towards him. You understand how he would not allow him to rot in the grave.
Right.
He'd have risen him up.
Right.
But
Psalms 136 and verse 23, God remembered us in our low estate, for His mercy endures forever.
His mercy endures forever, and His mercy still.
Let's speak up right there.
It says, who giveth, it says, who hath redeemed us from our enemies, for His mercy endured forever.
His mercy endured forever. You redeem us
from our enemies.
And as it says in Luke, He redeemed Israel. So this isn't pertaining to all the Bible story. Alright, the message of salvation and redemption. Alright, and the Lord's mercy is only to a particular nation of people. Alright, all these nations they have their pawns. Alright, like you're playing chess, it's at the front pawns, let the pawns go first.
Sell on the pawns. The blind followers of the blind.
The true kings will not step forward now. And they will be reformed too, because that was our first estate. You understand? The angels that left the foot. Being that if we are those men, we were actually the first group of spirits created after Yahushua.
We were the first brethren as well.
We were the ones that came together and moved the elements and created the sun, the moon, the stars, everything that they see today.
So imagine kind of forward
and that's why it says in 2nd Esdras 11, when the lion was speaking to the eagle. But the true lion is not Assyria and Babylon. The true lion is the Yahushua Mashiach. And the true lion, the lion of the tribe of Judah. And we tell the lion, we tell the eagle, he say, art not thou that 4 beasts which I have made to reign in my world?
2nd Esdras
11. You understand? This is the Lord's world. He created, as the scripture says, all things were created by Him and for Him. And He is before all things. And He even says He is the head of the body. Which body? The elect angels that was created after Him or by Him. So going back to somebody at 2nd Kings.
Yeah, I'm with it. Back in 2 Kings 25 and 1, it says, and it came to pass. It came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, and in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came. He and all his hosts against Jerusalem, and pitched against it, and they built forts against it round about.
Right, they built forts against it round about. And that wasn't, we as the Israelites wasn't the only nation of people that they came up against. But they dealt with us very cruel. Like how they deal, who was the king at that time? When they came in, that would have been, I think his name is there. Zedekiah. Zedekiah was the king at that time. And what they did to Zedekiah, they slew his sons and then plucked out his eyes. That is the last, just imagine that is your last sight. Seeing your sons get slain before you. Then after that, they take out your bulb. That's why we better read in Daniel 9, you read it, right? Daniel 9 and verses 12. As it had not been done as it had been done unto Jerusalem. The way these nations did deal with us, they deal with us extreme.
They hated us.
I was going to say all the trees of the garden envied it.
Yeah, they hated us. For heaven.
Yeah.
Some birds,
Yeah.
Verse 2, it says, and the city was besieged until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. And on the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people of the land.
Forced famine through a besiege. When a city is besieged by its enemy, what is stopping there? They're stopping your food. Basically you're repairing of products. You can't go on because you have supplies in, but ever so often you have to go out either to make trades. You understand? Replenishing, right? You have to leave your city to go and make trade with other nations or to get certain resources, whatever. So it would have a certain amount of food, and once they besiege around you for a certain amount of time, their food run out. That is it, famine it. And you can't leave. If you try to leave, what's going to happen? You're going to die. You're going to slay you. Well,
it says, and there was no bread for the people of the land, and the city was broken up. And
it was what?
Broken up.
Broken up. That's why when you read in Jeremiah 50, last the king of Nebuchadnezzar had what? Broken his bones. You understand? That's what they did. Through the besieging of Jerusalem until the famine came.
Well, right. It says, and the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled by night.
Run. Go ahead. And
fled by night by the way of the gate between two walls, which is by the king's garden. Now the Chaldees were against the city round about, and the king went the way toward the plain, and the army of the Chaldees pursued after the king and overtook him in the plains of Jericho.
The king trying to run too. Go ahead.
And all his army was scattered from him. So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon to Riblah, and they gave judgment upon him, and they slew his sons, and they slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with fetters of brass, and carried him to Babylon.
Yeah, and these different accounts here, these historical events which did took place, alright, these nations had to pay for that. Scripture says you require that which is past. Alright, so that's why when we go out on the streets and we declare destruction upon these nations and we declare a kingdom to come where we're going to rule over them. I think the scripture says in Revelation 2 and verses 26 that they're going to rule over them with a rod of iron.
That's right.
All the things they did to us, we're going to be recompensed unto them when our rulership comes in.
Yeah, they're going to rule over the fierceness.
That's right.
It's going to make all the nations fear.
That's right.
It's going to make all the nations fear them.
Okay, just add to that, the scripture says, you shall rule them with a rod of iron. When you go into that word of iron or scepter, it means to rule vigorously, rule over with a harsh rulership.
That's right.
In Jeremiah 46 and 1 and 2, then I'll jump to verse 10. The word of Yahweh which came to Jeremiah the prophet against the Gentiles, against Egypt, against the army of Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, which was by the river Euphrates in Carchemish, which Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, smote in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah. Jumping on to verse 10. Because basically the same judgment will come to all the heathen, because this Gentile here was the heathen nations, right? It says, verse 10, for this is the day of the Lord power of hosts, a day of vengeance, that he may avenge him of his adversaries. And the sword shall devour, and it shall satiate, which means to have enough, right? And made drunk with their blood, for Yahweh power of hosts had a sacrifice in the north country by the river Euphrates. Right? So the Most High, he gonna get his, Yahweh shall gonna get his vengeance upon you, because the scripture says in all their afflictions he was afflicted. Right? So in all the wickedness that you did to Israel, plucking out the eyes of the king, so on and so forth. You're going to get that back. When we pay back is a bitch.
That's right.
And she named Esau.
I'll probably say really quick because Brother Calab did mention that Most High, he was talking about the Assyrian captivity. You see that they had a time to rule, and they get plucked up. All kingdoms had the time to rule, and you know, eventually they get plucked up. And another reason why they ruled, because it was prophesied, because to put the kingdom of Israel. Let me just read this here real quick. The book of Hosea 1 and verse 5. It says, and it shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. And she conceived again and bare a daughter. The Most High said unto him, call her name Leruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. So how did the Lord take them away? He took them away by the Assyrian captivity.
That's right. That's right.
And when they fulfilled that, Babylon had to rise up. So they fulfilled that. They fulfilled that prophecy. And as they fulfilled that prophecy, Babylon rose up. That is where he was going into all the history with Nebuchadnezzar and Nebuchadnezzar and all of them. Alright? Because they had to fall. Eventually they fell because they actually took away the kingdom of Israel. Because the Lord said he wouldn't have no mercy on them anymore. It says, but I will have mercy upon the house of Judah. That is why they remain. I will save them by their Lord, by the Lord their power. I will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, nor by horses, nor by horsemen.
And that is when Sennacherib came in, and Sennacherib wanted to carry in the southern kingdom as well. And the Most High, how did the Most High get rid of the Assyrian captivity from taking away Judah, Benjamin, and Levi? Without sword or without war. Right? They go into the account of, I believe what happened was he caused some mice to come in and to eat up their weapons and whatnot. Let's see if I can get it.
It says, now when she had weaned Lo-Ruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Most High, called his name Lo-Ami, which is La-Aimia, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power. And this was speaking to the kingdom of Judah, which eventually got conquered by who? Babylonians, who came up after the Assyrians. That is where we read in Daniel the 7th chapter. It had eagle's wings, and the wings were plucked. It was plucked. It was also plucked because they also fulfilled their lot. Their lot too was to put the kingdom of Israel in captivity, and they did that. Now the hands of Shalmaneser the fifth, he took them away and led them captive into another land. That is 13th chapter in 2nd Ezra.
Second Ezra chapter 13 and verses 40 says, these are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea, the king, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
And that is all the kingdoms of this earth had a chance to rule. And when the Lord looked down on the earth, the only kingdom he could, if he was to do a process of elimination, whichever kingdom, is the only one that could stand, he would have to say the nation of Israel. And that was the shortest rulership ever in all the kingdoms. What you will have to say is them is the only ones who fit to rule the earth, because they ruled it perfect. No wars, peace. You understand? Right. So the Lord, by process of elimination, them had to be the rulers of the earth.
That's right.
The Lord watching down on heaven, go through all the histories of all the kingdoms, and see now, he had to say now. When King Solomon was ruling, that the only time peace reigned forever. Peace was reigning. So no wars. And the Lord is, although he is a man of war, the Lord wanted heaven to come down on earth, and that the Lord's prayer. Right? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven, and there is peace in heaven.
Is Job 25 and verse 2. It says, dominion and fear with him, he maketh peace in his high places.
Peace. So when the Lord go through, he was to go through the history books, just like the king, what is his name? With Haman and them, when they went through the history books and they saw Mordecai was the man, Ahasuerus and them, they see Mordecai was the man who saved the king. And that's why they didn't destroy Mordecai just like Haman wanted. They go through the records. The Lord pulled back the records and he watched Babylon. He said Babylon didn't rule proper. He watched Assyria and them didn't rule proper. He watched Greeks. He said them was wicked as hell.
The most wicked.
The most wicked. He watched Rome. Then he watched Israel. He said what? Israel is our kingdom. Them rule righteous.
That's right.
So we had to give them an next chance to rule. And here's one thing, this is what we're talking about here. That's why the prophets was always so fervent. Acts the first chapter. When they say, Lord will know at this time they were so fervent for that rulership because the kingdom Israel had to rule again. But this time the Lord say, you're going to be perfect. You think we're going to have no sin in this kingdom when he set them up the next time. You think we're going to have no sin. But how we fell was through sin.
Through this body.
Yeah, through this body. So he said this next kingdom ain't going to have no sin because all you do it very good the first time, but all you had a downfall, a shortcoming, which was these bodies. So you know what? See now, it was so good in the flesh. I'll give all the spiritual bodies to keep it perfect. You understand? So they'll never ever fall.
Just to add to the brother, there's Daniel chapter 2 and verses 44. It says, "And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever."
Yeah, and when the scripture says Daniel was 7:18, the kingdom will be for the Israelites, the saints forever and ever. The saints going to rule, as it says in Revelation, the son and his anointed.
It's Jeremiah 46 and 27. "But fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, and be not dismayed, O Israel. For behold, I will save thee from afar off, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and be in rest and at ease, and none shall make him afraid. Fear thou not, O Jacob, my servant, saith Yahweh, for I am with thee. For I will make a full end of all the nations whither I have driven thee. But I will not make a full end of thee, but correct thee in measure, yet will I not leave thee wholly unpunished." Right? This is Psalms chapter 14 verse 7. "O that the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion, when Yahweh bringeth back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice and Israel shall be glad." Yeah, so
And shall yet choose Israel.
yeah, so the second go around, yeah, we're gonna be on top. 12 tribes.
In Revelation 11 and verse 15, it says, "The seven angels sounded, and there were great voices in heaven, saying, The kingdom of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his anointed, Mashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever." So there's no end to this kingdom. When this kingdom is done being set up, as you say, in the midst of them kingdom, he wants set up, which is the house of David being rebuilt here.
Right.
And he so can't stop it. He can't stop it, all who are trying, they can't stop it, till the kingdom's done.
Right.
Scripture saying, is that 2 Corinthians, you can do nothing against the truth but for the truth. So everything being validated.
No. Alright, now let's have this one. Psalms 37 and 1. "Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed."
is the book of Jeremiah chapter 12 and verses 14. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh against all my evil neighbors that touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them out of their land, and pluck out the house of Judah from among them." Continuing, it says, "And it shall come to pass, after that I have plucked them out, I will return, and have compassion on them, and will bring them again, every man to his heritage, and every man to his land." Understand? So things are going to go back into order. Alright, the nation of Israel is going to go back to where we belong, and these other nations are going to have to go back to where they belong. All that mix-up that was caused through captivities that we undergo, where they brought us, beginning with the Assyrians, they brought us from Samaria into Assyria, put heathens in our land, and Esau now come and do the same thing in these times. And when the scripture likened them to be Assyrian, they basically did the same thing. So just like the Assyrians were plucked, the Lord is saying to all the evil enemies, all his evil neighbors, they're also going to be plucked up out of his people's land. You understand?
Two quick ones. This is Ecclesiastes 3 and 1 and 2. To everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. The Lord planted them nations, so he's plucking them up now. This is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 18. "Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when the power had overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there, and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons," I feel like that's what we're saying, "and dragons in their pleasant places, and her time is near to come."
The time is what?
Near to come.
The time is near to come.
"And a day shall not be prolonged."
And that is why the prophets out here raising up so frequently and so abundantly. But that is it, when the Lord about to bring destruction, he sent prophets on the scene. To see the amount of prophets that are raising up to the 3-4 corners of the earth. So that great destruction that has been predestinated is about to happen. Alright, the time is near to come, and Lord willing is either this year, next year, but we just want it to come. You know, as it says in Revelation 22 and verse 20, we can close with that if anybody has anything.
Yeah, Revelation chapter 18 and 1, "And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lighted with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, the great is fallen, and has become a habitation of devils."
And this Babylon is not the ancient Babylon that was ruled by Nebuchadnezzar, but the modern day one, because when you read verses 8, alright, when you jump on, we better go bring it out.
It says, right, when I finish, it says, "The habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird." Jumping down to 8, therefore,
every hateful and unclean bird or devil, and speaks of here is beasts, desert creatures. It breaks that down in Isaiah 13 chapter. Go ahead.
It says, verse 8, "And therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire."
Right, and ancient Babylon was utterly burnt with fire.
"For strong is the strong is the Lord strong is the Lord power who judgeth her."
And as it says there, after the burning, there's going to be desert creatures dwelling there. And ancient Babylon is the land of Iraq today.
Yeah.
Alright, which is not north of Turkey, northern Turkey.
And people dwelling there.
And people dwelling there, and not inhabited or taken over by desert creatures.
Yeah.
With the destruction of Babylon that we read of prophetically, Babylon is going to be left as a total wasteland. Alright, so in these times, what it's talking about is what Esau has set up America. When
it's called Revelation 21 or 22?
22:20.
This is Revelation chapter 22, verse 20. It says, He which testified these things saith, Surely I come quickly. Amen. Even so come Yahushai HaMashiach.
Right. Come quickly. See, coming quickly. Time is near to come. And the saints say, so come now, Lord Yahushai. If you're in that spirit of telling the Lord to come, then you're not in the spirit. Alright, if you're seeing many more years in this place, you're not in the spirit.
If you're waiting for your pension, you're not in the
spirit. Alright, if your plan is to see your grandchildren grow up, you're not in the spirit anymore.
Go to college and have school, master's and degrees.
Your plan's supposed to see the Lord return. That's what you're supposed to be looking for. The Lord to crack them, as Isaiah said it in Isaiah 64. Oh, that thou wouldest rend the heavens. So what? That the mountains go through down. And the mountains represent these other nations, kingdoms, that they're going to cease. That stone that was cut off without hands, that smote the image. That way you're supposed to be begging that stone to come.
In Psalm 17 and 13, Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked which is thy sword, from men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world which have their portion in this life, whose bellies thou fillest with thy hid treasures. They are full of children, and they leave the rest of their substance to their leaves. So with that, we give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh.
The blood of our apostles and elders, our great millstone. Citation, men and brethren in this work is sincerity and the truth. Mawat Abad, Mabal, Shalom to the elect.
Shalom.